Hey everybody, hello and good afternoon, greetings. I think we should be approaching Texarkana border between Texas and Arkansas. Once again, today it is July 10th, 2018. Local time is 3:11. Temperature here is 89 degrees. Don't worry, I am perfectly nice and cold in here. In fact, I forgot to put my jacket on. If you guys are wondering why I put my jacket on, I hate seat belts. They dig into my neck. But anyway. Alright, I'm gonna title this video the 64 mile an hour challenge. That's right, I'm doing 64 miles an hour. I'm going to challenge myself doing 64 instead of 70. I know Baby Blue just crying her eyes out. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I can't do this 64 mile an hour. But I don't need to be in Cole Township till Friday. So who knows? It's been a good 2.5 years since I've been driving really slow. Baby Blue's always such in a hurry. I know, right? Welcome to Texarkana. We're still on the Texas side though. Texarkana, twice as nice. By the way, boy, my boss has a message for you guys. He is still looking for drivers, a minimum of 2 years, 3 years. Although he's willing to bend that a little bit to 2 years if you have a very good, excellent, clean driving record. $10,000 sign-on bonus over 12 months of employment. That's not bad. Let's see, that's 10 divided by 12. That's pretty good. That's a couple $100 a month. There you go. And I think one of the criteria is that you must have been employed recently or still employed. I don't think he's going to be wanting someone who has not worked for over a long length of period of time. So I think he's recent unemployed, maybe 6 months less. Either way, give him a call. All right, he said that the minimum pay is $1,200 a week guaranteed, or 25% gross. Driver earning $1,800 to $2,000 currently, but $1,200 is minimum. Yeah, so he's saying in an average you can make $1,800 to $2,000 a week. That's gross, by the way. As I told Larry. By the way, for full disclosure, my boss does compensate me for each driver that come in. What they call a driver referral. It's a certain amount. But I tell you this though, I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in it. And you could ask Larry if what I said over many, many months, many videos, what I've said about ADL is not true. You could ask them. I think between me and Larry, over 20 years of driving experience, this is the most relaxed company we've ever worked with. There's just no pressure here. It's just, granted, our equipment are not the brand new trucks, but we're getting there. We're as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, my boss's goal is to have 10 trucks in the fleet. As soon as he's got 10 trucks in the fleet, he's going to take the oldest and crappiest truck of the fleet and sell that or trade it in for a brand new one. Not a new secondhand. He really wants to get new trucks. From what I understand, there's a lot of good deals on new trucks out there right now. So it's, the sooner we can reach our 10 drivers, the sooner we can get rid of all these older trucks. But as while I was discussing this with Larry, if you guys don't know who Larry is, he's another YouTuber. Been a long friend of mine for over 20 years. He's just currently now working for ADL. Remember a couple of days ago, or I think it was, Sunday, where he says sometimes he wonders if the boss is mad at him because he never hears from the boss. It's kind of like, it's almost, you have this paranoia of the idea that the boss is giving you a silent treatment. I don't know, it's just with 10 trucks and the boss man is the only one in the office, he doesn't have time to babysit each and every driver. I tell you that. If you're the kind of driver that needs a contact, from the office on a very regular basis, I don't think ADL would work out for you. But if you're looking for a company that just leaves you alone, you do your job, the boss, I think the boss just contacts us at the very minimum to the urgent matters only. I remember when Larry was doing his video with JBG, he could never do a video without him getting pinged with new messages all the time. I don't know about you, but I hate that. It just messages after messages. One of the things that really just kind of gave me a really bad taste in my mouth as far as working for a large company is, large company will send a nationwide, a fleet-wide messages all the time. Like Smokey Bear hiding on mile marker, 31 on Interstate 30. Well, you're out there in Wyoming. That doesn't concern you. Leave me alone. Or a blizzard in Maine. I'm in California. I don't need to know that. I know. It's just a a little annoying, I suppose. And they always put out this fleet-wide of bulletin and memos, and different department always want to talk to you. You don't get that over here at ADL. Really don't. It's almost like you're working for yourself. And I have said that long before Larry came over, and I don't think Larry can dispute that. I wouldn't do this if I didn't believe it. I think with the previous company that I used to work for, I've been there for 13 years. In 2 years that I was there doing videos with YouTube, I don't ever remember asking anyone to come over, even though I would have gotten paid, a lot of money for each driver that came over because of my referral. I didn't do it because I didn't believe it. I felt I would feel really guilty of leading someone on to the company, and because I know how bad it is. There's nothing worse than going over to a new company because of the promises of other drivers out there saying what good things, great things are happening in that company. So you quit your job, you go to that company, you work there, and it turns out it's not true. That's why I never did it. Although I did remember saying that with that company they had, brand new equipments, good people to work with, but there were certain things that I disagreed. And that's why I never really did a recruitment video, because it just one of the biggest problem I think I really believe is they couldn't keep the miles. I bet you 99.9% of the driver turnover, the reason is the mileage is never there. It's never constant, never consistent. It's one of those games that they play, company trucking, the games they play where they'll give you one good mileage a week, and the next week you come home with $300-400 paycheck. It drove me nuts. I'm surprised I stayed there that long. I think one of the reasons why I stayed there so long was, it was close to home. But I think my biggest fear was if I go to a different company, it'd be the same old, same story, different company, different logo. And for those of you who are new to the channel and been asking, how did I become a driver for ADL? Well, I was while I was doing videos with my previous employer, it turns out ADL, the boss man ADL, was one of my subscribers. And at that time, he always emailed me and called me up and say, how do you like to work with me? And at that time, I had a dedicated run between Wisconsin and California every week. But even then, that didn't really, the mileage wasn't really there, because even though going to California was a good week, the week after that it was bad, and I would end up sitting in Kansas or in Iowa doing a 34-hour reset. Oh, I hate doing 34-hour reset. So one day when the company told me I could no longer do YouTube videos, and I saw that the opportunity for YouTube videos was growing, my boss man called me up, the ADL boss man called me up and say, how about now? I said, okay. So that's what I did. That's how I came to ADL transport. I tell you what, I have never regretted it. Never. So again, if you're looking for a small company out there, you can call home. Oh, one more thing that I forgot to mention. We do not have driver ID over here. We don't have a driver code or driver ID number. I think the only driver code that I have is for the ELD, where it says John V. Just so you could sign on to your ELD. That's about it. No driver number. Never treated as a number in this place. But I must warn you, I think it'd be only fair. If you come and work here, my boss will work you to the bone. He will work you to the bone if you let him. Which is kind of a good thing. He will work you to the bone until you say, I gotta get some sleep. I gotta go home. If you set up your home time well in advance, he will get you home. I guarantee it. Although there were times where I set up my home time even well in advance, a greater opportunity popped up, and I choose to stay out longer. Oh no, I broke my 64 mile an hour challenge. I went up to 69 miles an hour. Oh dear. Baby Blue wins. Let's get ahead of these guys here so we can back off. By the way, welcome to Arkansas. We are at mile marker 12. Baby Blue, behave, Baby Blue, behave. Come on. You speedy demon, you, Baby Blue. Can you imagine Big Blue doing 72 miles an hour? Oh, one of these days I'm gonna put a little plug somewhere in Baby Blue. Or better yet, I can ask Jose to lend me his computer with the Detroit program in there. I can dial down the speed for Big Blue. Then I'll tell Larry that the boss man told me to do it, and I'm sure my boss will play along with it. Did you know that my boss is now getting into the act between me and Larry? Yep, he's the one suggesting how to do certain videos. I guess he's just kind of like you guys. He wants to see me and Larry pranking each other. Now, once again, just a friendly reminder, don't need to spoil it, but I must. Me and Larry have been friends for over 20 years. There's nothing that we have not yet done to each other long before YouTube videos. So whenever you see a video, me and Larry joking around or saying certain things to each other, know this, that it's just a joke. It's just for entertainment, okay? So don't be worried about me and Larry. We're all right. What else? If I had to, if I must, if I may, I would like to elaborate the $1,200 a week. Basically, if you do your job and you don't refuse a load, let's just say for that week was really slow, and you did everything that you can. You did everything that the boss asked you to do, and the revenue for that week was lower than $1,200. Let's just say the truck only grossed $900 because it was a very slow week. What that means is the boss will reach in his own pocket and he's going to pay upcharge pay. He calls it upcharge because he digs it out of his pocket and pulls it up and gives you 9, 10, 11, 12. He'll pay you $300 out of his pocket just to cover that, to complete your $1,200 of gross pay, minimum a week. But yes, I have experienced many times grossing over $1,800 in a week. But know this, very important new information. Larry and I and most of I think everyone in this company, we do a 1099. Basically, what that means is the boss will give you $1,200 gross, no deduction. It is your responsibility to pay for your own taxes. You have to file a quarterly tax, and I had to explain that to Tang the other week because he didn't know about doing a 1099. And I really believe that, I don't know, my wife and I, we like it that way. The only danger to that part is if you get into a bind and you end up using some of that money for emergency bills, and you kind of neglect your you end up neglecting paying your quarterly tax, you're gonna pay up. Remember, Uncle Sam, when it comes to taxes, Uncle Sam will forgive you for murder and robbery, but when it comes to tax evasion, ooh, they're brutal. So once again, if you're looking for a small company with very relaxed, almost, a contact between the boss and you is at the very minimum, come work for ADL. We've got room for you. I truly believe that it can only get better from here on. It can only get better and stronger. I mean, you've seen our trailers. The bosses, I think the boss man has already bought 3 or 4 brand new trailers. Not slightly used, brand new ones. I think that of all the fleet, I think Tang's truck would probably be traded off first, because that truck is just, boy, when I rode that truck with Tang from the house to the yard, that truck is beat up. And I think my boss said that he's done with Freightliners. He's had enough. I think he's going to concentrate and make the whole fleet a T680. And I couldn't agree more. You've seen Larry's truck. That thing is quiet as a mouse, solid as a rock, and it does 72 miles an hour. Well, that's all I have for now. So again, $10,000 sign-on bonus, $1,200 minimum. You can average between 18 to 2,000 a week. 3 years minimum experience, but we'll consider up to 2 years depending on driving record or experience. And let's see how to. Oh, here we go. Preferred hiring area: Connecticut, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Rhode Island, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. And you can call them at 866 584-8052. Or you could go to their website. I don't see the website here. Oh, there it is. www.adltransportinc.com. www.adltransportinc, all one word, .com. There you go. Hope to see you and Hope to see you being part of the ADL Road Warriors. I got a way station here. What are the chances of that oversized load pulling over before the way station? He's getting his ducks ready. He got a green light. He got a green light. Oh boy, here comes the rain. Alright, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good and godly day, everybody. Come work with ADL. Peace. Driving this 64 mile an hour is a lot harder than I thought. We'll do our best. Peace.